We'll call our regular meeting of March 21st to order. Welcome, everyone. The notice requirements provided for in the Open Publics Meeting Act have been satisfied. Notice of this meeting was properly given in the new scheduled meetings of the Spotswood Borough Council on December 28, 2015. The new schedule was transmitted to the Home News Tribune and Sentinel. It was filed with the Clerk of the Borough of Spotswood and posted in the municipal building located at 77 Summerhill Road, Spotswood, New Jersey. Since our last meeting, we've had some very sad news. We lost two firefighters, Anthony Savaccio and a legend when you hear the name, Vernon Lohr, someone that was at probably the very beginning of the Spotswood Volunteer Firefighters. We also lost Russell Reeser, who was a retired custodian from the school. If you can remember those individuals and their families in your moment of silence.
And the third firefighter.
The what?
A third firefighter.
A third firefighter.
Barry?
Al Deary, we lost in January,
Okay.
65-year member.
Thank you, Barry. If you can remember those individuals and their families during our moment of silence, we'd appreciate it. We'll rise to salute to the flag and moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Councilman Seeley?
Here.
Councilwoman Rhodes?
Here.
Councilman Ritchie?
Here.
Councilman Service?
Here.
Council President Stolen?
Here.
Mayor Policino.
Present.
We have minutes from February 17, 2016 regular meeting.
Make a motion to move the minutes. Second.
Councilman Seeley?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rhodes?
Abstain.
Councilman Ritchie?
Yes.
Councilman Service?
Yes.
Council President Stolen?
Yes.
We have ordinance on second reading. This is the public hearing. Ordinance 2016-4 was posted in the Spotswood Municipal Building on February 18, 2016, and advertised in full in the Home News Tribune on February 22nd. A public hearing was set for March 7, 2016. Due to the cancellation of the March 7, 2016 meeting, public hearing was moved to March 21, 2016, and advertised in the Home News Tribune on March 14th and posted in the municipal building. Ordinance 2016-4, capital ordinance providing for the new elevated water storage tank project, water main cleaning and cement lining, and roadway and utility improvements to the Cottage Streets area, and appropriating $150,000, therefore authorized in and by the Borough of Spotswood in the County of Middlesex, New Jersey.
This ordinance is providing funding for a grant that we're seeking with USDA. Dawn, is that for like 1.2 million, the total grant amount we're looking for?
More than that, it's 3 projects.
Yeah,
It's about 6 or
I
7.
thought 6.5.
Yeah, just the water tower, I think, was over $1 million. That's right.
Closer to
3.
4.
Closer to 4. Okay.
Yeah.
So we are,
What's a million?
yeah, what's a million here or there? We're going for this grant to do some major improvements in town that we otherwise would never be able to afford. As Pat had read the ordinance, it's for water tower, water main relining, roadway and utility improvements to the cottage streets where they're having both sewer and water supply problems. So this is providing funding for a lot of the engineering and for the grant. And if we can achieve getting that grant, and it also usually includes some waiving of some of the amounts that we borrow, it would be a great boom to the town to get some of these projects done. Anyone have any questions on this ordinance?
Open to the public.
Yeah, so we need a motion to open.
Make a
Motion
motion to
to the
open.
public?
Second.
Councilman Seeley?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rhodes?
Yes.
Councilman Ritchie?
Yes.
Councilman Service?
Yes.
Council President Stoll?
Yes. Anyone have any questions on this ordinance? Yes, we just ask you come up to the podium, you have to state your name and address for the record. We know it, but...
Cheryl Bass, 289 Main Street. With all of this water that we're talking about, the grant, is this the state or is this the federal government?
Federal.
Federal, because on the federal level, there has been very bad publicity, I regard it as bad, with the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, and the Department of Environmental Quality, the DEQ, that nobody was watching with the Flint water and the Detroit water. The people in Detroit were not paying their water bills, so they went to Flint. And the EPA locally and the Department of Environmental Quality locally in Flint were transmitting to the federal government, the EPA, that the water is no good, the pipes are old, the pipes have
Okay.
not been upgraded.
This
Yeah.
grant from USDA,
Yeah,
we get to oversee what's being done, not them.
that's my
And
question.
they are just providing the funding for
Okay.
us to do this that improves all these situations in town that can only help us. So these other situations are really not related to this, what we're doing.
Yeah, but-
USDA is providing funding for us to do these projects to improve our infrastructure.
That is my question, because there's so many bureaucrats. One is telling the other, one is ignoring it, and then they're accusing the governor of Michigan that he's not doing his job, so.
Okay, well, what
yeah.
we want is some bureaucrats
Yeah.
to sign off on this and give us the money.
That's
what we want.
And there will be no lead.
We are controlling our own situation locally. We are in control of that.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Cheryl. Anyone else have a question on this ordinance?
Make the motion to close the public portion?
Second.
Councilman Seeley?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rhodes?
Yes.
Councilman Ritchie?
Yes.
Councilman Service?
Yes.
Council President Stolen?
Yes. I make a motion, we pass this ordinance on second reading and advertise it according to law.
Second.
Councilman Seeley?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rhodes?
Yes.
Councilman Ritchie?
Yes.
Councilman Service?
Yes.
Council President Stolen?
Yes.
We have an ordinance on first reading, ordinance 2016-5, an ordinance vacating the borough's authority and control over a portion of Millville Avenue in the Borough of Spotswood, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey.
Well, Pat, what is going to be the next hearing date? It says March 21st, so we have to,
No, it says April 4th.
not on mine.
No, not on mine.
Oh, I'm sorry, but mine says April 4th. Next meeting.
So I make a motion, we pass this ordinance on first reading and set a public hearing for April 4th and advertise it according to law.
Second.
Councilman Seeley?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rhodes?
Yes.
Councilman Ritchie?
Yes.
Councilman Service?
Yes.
Council President Stolen?
Yes.
We have another ordinance, 2016-6, which is being pulled from the agenda for now. Do we want to do the consent agenda before the budget? What do you want to do?
Well, we do them in order. That's just going to be another vote, right?
That's a separate vote,
Yeah, but that's okay, we can do that next. Unless you're not ready, we...
No, that's okay.
Okay.
This is Resolution 2016-55, municipal budget of the Borough of Spotswood, County of Middlesex for the fiscal year 2016. Be it resolved that the following statements of revenues and appropriations shall constitute the municipal budget for the year 2016. I have a number of $6,669,898 to be raised by taxes plus $257,199 library tax, which equals to be raised by taxes $6,927,097. Be it further resolved that said budget be published in the Home News Tribune in the issue of April 7, 2016. The governing body of the Borough of Spotswood does hereby approve the following as the budget for the year 2016. Notice is hereby given that the budget and tax resolution was approved by the council, which haven't done that yet. We'll
Make a
take
motion, we pass that resolution?
Second.
Councilman Seeley?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rhodes?
Yes.
Councilman Ritchie?
Yes.
Councilman Service?
Yes.
Council President Stolen?
Yes.
Notice is hereby given that the budget and tax resolution was approved by the Borough of Spotswood, County of Middlesex, and the Borough Council on March 21st, 2016. A hearing on the budget and tax resolution will be held at the Spotswood Municipal Building, 77 Summerhill Road, on April 18, 2016, at 7:30 p.m., at which time and place objections to said budget and tax resolution for the year 2016 may be presented by taxpayers or others, other interested persons. Okay, we have resolutions under consent agenda. Council President, council members, I need a motion to adopt resolutions 2016-43 under the consent agenda through 2016-54.
Make a motion, we move the resolutions.
Second.
Councilman Seeley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rhodes.
Yes.
Councilman Ritchie,
Yes.
Councilman Service.
Yes.
Council President Stolen.
Yes. Anyone want to read the proclamation?
Read across America?
Yes. You want to do that?
Yeah. You have it? Because I had it.
I have it.
It's lost.
Here you go.
Nope. Yeah, here it is.
Good job.
I actually had the pleasure to go to Appleby School and sit with a fourth grade class with a teacher who was a graduate of Spotswood School, so it was really neat. And I know Kurt was there that day, I know Ed was there
Lot of
that
fun.
day. Nick, who else made it out there?
I got to read 8 books to the whole
Wow,
5th
lucky
grade
you.
and the whole 4th grade at Appleby.
Nice.
It was a fun day.
It was a
It
fun
really
day.
was.
Really, truly, we are blessed because the fourth graders I interacted with, they're going to be great. When they get to be older, they're going to be great.
Did they ask you
And-
questions?
Yes, they
That
did.
was-
Lots of good
Actually,
questions.
the whole time was almost questions. We had to squeeze the book in at the end. But it was,
That's great.
it just, I'm expecting my first grandchild soon. So I haven't been around young kids, little kids, in a while. So it was really kind of neat to sit there and talk to them and share with what I do, and it's just wonderful. Anyway, proclamation, read across America. Whereas the citizens of the Borough of Spotswood stand firmly committed to promoting reading as the catalyst for our students' future academic success, their preparation for Americans' jobs of the future, and their ability to compete in a global economy. And whereas the Mayor and Borough Council of the Borough of Spotswood have provided significant leadership in the area of community involvement in the education of our youth, grounded in the principle that educational investment is key to the community's well-being and long-term quality of life. And whereas National Education Association's Read Across America, a national celebration of reading, was conducted on March 2nd, 2016, which would have been the 112th birthday of Theodore Seuss Geisel, better known as Dr. Seuss. And whereas Read Across America, New Jersey, is being conducted statewide by the New Jersey Education Association in partnership with the New Jersey State League of Municipalities, the New Jersey Library Association, Saturn United Auto Workers, and their local affiliates across the state to promote reading and adult involvement in the education of our community students. Now therefore be it resolved that the Mayor and Borough Council of the Borough of Spotswood calls on the citizens of Spotswood to assure that every child is in a safe place reading together with a caring adult on March 2nd, 2016. And be it further resolved that this body enthusiastically endorses NEA's Read Across America and Read Across America New Jersey, and recommits our community to engage in programs and activities to make America's children the best readers in the world. Amen. Dated March 7th, 2016.
Thank you, Marge. Comments? Ted?
I covered mine earlier, thank you.
Okay. Ed?
Just 2.
Sure.
Going back to Reading Across America, I found that extremely entertaining. If you remember that show, I think it's still in the air, about are you smarter than a fifth grader?
We're not.
Well, I gotta tell you, fourth graders stumped me. Because they got me on the question and they knew the answer and I didn't. But it was very entertaining. And I'll tell you how long it's been. I tried to read Dr. Seuss fast. Don't ever try to do that in your lifetime. Because, whoa, there's some tongue twisters and that stuff. But it was a good time. I really enjoyed it. I hope we get the opportunity to do it again. That being said, tomorrow night I'll be attending the Transportation Committee meeting. And I noticed that we got an email a while back about roads that were being done. And Summerhill Road is on that list.
Correct.
So I'm going to try to get them to anchor down to a date of when they're going to do it this time, so we don't get surprised like we were last time with Main Street.
I was gonna
That's
bring that.
terrific.
I was gonna bring that up in my report, so.
I'll take care of that for you, Mr. Mayor.
Perfect.
And that's my report. That's it.
Marge?
Oh, I have a long one, sorry. I'm apologizing in advance.
What else is new?
But it's a good thing
Sorry.
to talk, right? So ShopRite invited representatives from the Borough Council to come down to their store last Tuesday, I think it was.
I think it was St. Patrick's.
And they actually participated. There's 200-plus ShopRites in this region. And Spotswood ShopRite was one of the top 14 stores that raised $1.31 million in the competition to support the efforts of food banks in the communities that ShopRite serves. So I went down from the Borough as a representative of the Borough, and who was there was a leprechaun from Lucky Charms cereal, so I had my picture taken with him. It was St. Patty's Day, so it was Thursday. And General Mills representatives, ShopRite executives. This store raised $14,000 in September to donate to food banks. And the top two cashiers that raised the top amounts of money in the store actually are pictured on the back of that Cheerios box that I have situated by the podium there. And kudos to them. They're the ones that ask you, would you like to donate? And they did such a great job that they raised $14,000. So they were one of the top 14 stores, 200-plus ShopRite stores to raise money. And they invited Reverend Shelley to come down from Alice's, the food bank, the Cup Food Pantry, and they presented him with $500 check to our local food pantry. So I thought it was a terrific effort on all parts. The ShopRite for being such a great partner with us, not only in hunger, but other efforts in the community, and General Mills for providing the space on their box for those local affiliates, those cashiers who work so hard to get that money raised. So just a great thing, and that box is being donated to Alice's Food Pantry. So I was happy to do that. I actually have pictures from the event up here. I can put them down there for you guys to look at. The two cashiers were very unassuming, very embarrassed, but they really deserved all of the credit they got for doing that work. Because it's hard enough to be a cashier at ShopRite rather than ask people for more money, right? The other thing, Senior Center is now starting at a Parkinson's support group for those residents who are caregivers or have family members who have Parkinson's. They had one meeting already. They've scheduled the second one on April 13th from 1 to 2:30 p.m. at the Senior Center because Parkinson's Awareness Month is in April. So I'm just highlighting that for anyone who wants to partake in that support group. Just call Janine Belaz down at the Senior Center and let her know that you'd like to come and partake in that. American Diabetes Association, tomorrow is Diabetes Awareness Month. I actually left on the table by Joe this risk assessment for type 2 diabetes. I'm going to leave it there for anyone who is not diagnosed with diabetes but thinks that they might be at risk for it. Please take this assessment. If you score a 5 or above, then you are at risk for it, and maybe we can post this on our website, the Borough website, for the individuals in the community to take it, because if you are 5 or above, you should go to your healthcare provider and tell them that you want to be tested for diabetes. The next thing is CDBG grant. Bruce actually covered a lot of that. We have gotten $1.5 million from that since 1975 from the federal government, and we have put that to good use throughout the town on a variety of projects. So kudos to the federal government for giving us this money. It is important to our town, and it has helped with many projects. I also reached out to the library, and Leo, I had you on that email too. We are now partnering as a community health consortium covering Middlesex County to have libraries in each of our towns serve as health centers in terms of health information for the residents of our towns. So I contacted C.L. Quillen, who's our library director, and tomorrow is a national network of libraries of medicine meeting in Milltown at the United Way Center, and they're going to educate library directors on how they can be health centers and serve as health centers for health information for towns. And C.L. Quillen has graciously agreed to go and represent Spotswood there. So please tell C.L. thank you. Vernon Lohr, very tragic, has 61 years in our fire department. I'm really sorry for the loss of Vernon, and I just want to commend our fire department because they had an honor guard standing there throughout his wake and participating in his funeral service. So kudos to you men. I went up to every single person there that I went on Friday to say thank you, because it's their time to pay honor to this gentleman. It gave comfort to the family. His brother Harvey is heartbroken, and really it made him feel good. And so thank you, fire department. I did visit Med Central at Robert Wood, a very impressive operation. Spent 2 hours there and learned a lot, and I just thought it was just top-notch operation. And once again, thank you to everybody on the podium. We did have the casino night for the Spotswood Education Foundation, raised a nice chunk of change, over $5,000 in that one night, for the grants that we give out to the teachers in the classrooms. And so thank you to everyone on the dais. They all chipped in and paid for an ad in our journal and helped with make that fundraiser such a success. And Ed did our plaque as usual, always a good job, and we honored Jerry Stankiewicz, who is our auditor for the borough, for all of his support for the SEF since we started. Jerry has been there, so thank you, and that's it. Sorry.
Okay,
Thank
March,
you.
thank you. Well, you had a couple of meetings to make up for, so.
Yeah. Well, did you tell them what happened March 7th? Why we didn't have a meeting? Why it was canceled?
No.
You need to tell them.
Well, you had one of the problems, so you want to tell her?
Yeah, we were sick. Three of us. I had the flu, even though I took a flu shot. It's a late flu season this year, and it was type B, and that shot didn't really cover type B that well. So I actually was out for the count. I know Ed was sick, Ted was sick. I mean, we were wiped. We didn't have enough quorum.
Dawn was sick.
Dawn was sick. Bruce
was
was sick. So that's why we canceled March 7th.
First time that I ever can think of it
remember.
happening.
And that's 9 years on the Board of Ed, 9 years here. I have never had a meeting canceled because of sickness, but we all came down with it, so.
And the March 9th budget meeting.
Yeah, and the March 9th budget meeting. Yeah, well, now we're all better, so we're not contagious anymore.
Let's start germs bingo again.
You have a little
Let's look at April 4th and see.
Leo, anything?
Nothing.
Nothing. Dawn, anything?
I just want to extend a huge thanks to our CFO, Joe Zanga, for his help to me on the municipal budget. I couldn't do it without him. He's an awesome CFO. And second of all, I just want to remind everybody that our online tax and utility payment service has been live since February 28th. So far, we've received 5 tax payments and 36 utility payments. The service has been advertised on our website and on the utility bills, and flyers are throughout the borough buildings. And there are fees associated with utilizing the service, but they're minimal. They're convenience fees.
Okay, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir. I also need to thank my BA and Joe for the amount of time and effort put into this budget. We were really looking at a very difficult year, as everyone's aware, and we had to figure out where we can end up cutting some expenses without without actually cutting services. So they really did a phenomenal job getting this budget together. I think $68 up from the $49 last year is a decent number with everything that the borough was facing. I'd also like to thank county freeholders for adding Summer Hill Road into our 16 paving list. Director Rios has been promising to do it, and he came true with it. I'm also trying to get them to do Manalapan Road and to put sidewalks, real sidewalks.
Great.
So it's safer for our children.
And our seniors.
Everybody walking. I know kids shouldn't ride their bikes on the sidewalk, but on a 40-mile-an-hour road, they do. And that sidewalk is horrible. So I'm hoping we can maybe get some money out of there. The budget workshop, I'd like to thank everybody on the dais. While my daughter was in Robert Wood, and I apologize for not being there. But you guys all did a really great job with the budget that I put forward toward you, so thank you for that.
Nick, from all of us on the dais, it's a terrible thing to have to try to balance something like this in a family emergency, and we're so happy everyone is okay.
Very tough decision to skip a meeting that important.
Family comes first.
But we didn't have any results yet, so. But thank you for everybody's reaching out to me also. The Spotswood Rec Easter egg hunt was a huge blast, I was told. Read Across America, everyone had fun doing that. Lastly, the ICS Carnival's coming up again, June 14th. It'll be from 6 to 11, and June 14th to 17th, 6 to 11, and June 18th, 5 to 11, and having fireworks on the 18th. And that's about it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome, sir.
Entertained a motion to open to the public.
Motion open to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
General open public portion, just ask you to come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Hello, Barry.
Hello again, Barry Engstrom, President, Spotswood Volunteer Fire Department. I would just like to thank you all for supporting the fire department in that way when we had our loss. And again, it was very difficult. This 2016 is an absolutely horrible year for us. As you had mentioned, we lost Al Deary, and in between that, Ted will concur that we lost Debbie Keepers, one of our life members' wife. And then it was back to back with Vernon and Tony. So it's been quite troubling for us, and unfortunately, it's given us a lot of opportunity to better our practice on how we go ahead with the honor guard and stuff like that. It's a sad way to say it, but you know, again, the fire department pulled up all stops and did a fantastic job. But again, thank you for the ones that showed up to the family. It was very important to the family to see all the support. Like you said, Harvey. He's just absolutely beside himself, and he's questioning why he's burying a younger brother. He should be gone himself. You know, it's terrible. It's terrible. But again, thank you for the support again. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Barry.
And Barry, the sad part was Vernon went to Tony's wake on Thursday.
4 days earlier, he's at Tony's wake.
And then he had a major stroke. Positive, you know, he wasn't sick, but at least it was very quick.
Yeah, less than 18 hours, he was gone.
Now, I promised Harvey that I would talk about getting a sign for Vernon in the borough, so I'm bringing that up to the group here to see if we could do a memorial sign for his years of service with the fire department and also his other duties in town. So for another day, we'll discuss that.
Okay, I'd like to discuss that with you also.
Sure.
Thank you, Barry. Anyone else? Good evening.
Good evening. Liam Coglin, 145 Jackson Street in Spotswood. The reason I'm here today is it's regarding the gate at the end of Jackson Street. I don't know if everybody's familiar with that gate, right by the baseball field there.
Yes.
So about 2 weeks ago, apparently the police and the high school decided they were going to open this gate for traffic. I think it's a violation of the zoning ordinance. I know it's a violation of the zoning ordinance. I wrote a letter to the township.
And we have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wrote a letter to the township explaining some of the reasons, but the main reason is safety for children walking to school. As you know, Jackson Street has sidewalks, but they're channeling all of the cars coming to school down L&L, which does not have sidewalks, Vaughan, which does not have sidewalks, and what's the other street over there? Easton, which does not have sidewalks. So you got teenage kids driving down all these streets in the morning with kids walking to school, not to mention that entrance is not a legal entrance to the high school. Now, I wrote the letter. The zoning officer came to see me at my house, which I'm glad that he acknowledged the letter, but basically what he told me is that it's always been an entrance to the high school, therefore the township has no jurisdiction over this. I know for a fact it hasn't always been an entrance to the high school, because when the high school was constructed, they didn't even own that property, and that's been confirmed by several people. I'm sure there's people here familiar with that. Does anybody know anything about that, or?
I don't know about the legality.
The high
of
school
it.
building was before me.
The baseball field was there before the high school was there.
No.
Yes.
I could prove it. I could show you right now. I got an aerial photo.
We did the bid,
The Little League fields were there first.
yeah, the Little League fields on the other side of the tracks.
But I can also tell you, because I
The
was,
new
Okay.
baseball
In
field,
order to keep the record straight,
that driveway, that entrance was there the very first year that school was built, because I used it.
all right, we one at a time, we'll give you a chance to come
Okay,
up.
so from what I understand, the school did not own the property behind that gate when the school was constructed. It was owned, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, by the Little League? No one knows anything
I
about
don't.
that, but
No.
I put an Oprah request in to find this information out. I also requested a copy of the site plan from when the high school was constructed and a copy of the site plan from when the addition was added. I'm guessing somewhere in the early 2000s. I'm not sure. The Board of Education added an
the
addition.
Board of Education in the referendum of 2002, when I was on the board, did add the Board of Ed building in the back.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So my argument is, one, it's never been an entrance. I've lived there since 2002. The guy that sold me the house, Tom Hetzler, lived there for 17 years. They didn't start using it as an entrance until when they were doing construction on the school. They actually came to my house and they said, look, don't get worried. We're never going to use this entrance. We're just using it for construction to let trucks in and out. So after that, apparently, I'm not sure when this property was transferred to the Board of Ed. I don't even know if it's on the site plan right now, because when I looked it up on the tax maps, it's showing, it's not on the tax map that the school's on. But regardless of whether it was an entrance or not, in 2002, they were required, if that in fact is an entrance, to put sidewalks there. Because I looked it up under the ADA requirements, and I made a copy for myself to read if you want to hear it. A path of traveling this is basically what's required. If the school was in fact, if that was an entrance when the school was built, there's nothing that basically they could use it, no problem. My argument is, it was never part of the school plan. If it was added at some point in time, those sidewalks should have been added when that addition was added, based on the ADA requirements. And it's funny, because when I was reading through the advisories, they basically said schools are the #1 violators of ADA requirements.
Look, reading that to us, you're dealing with an issue that's on board property.
Okay.
I mean, what we're dealing with are our roads lead up to some entrances to the school, and we had one right on Mott, and Mott was closed for a long time. The only entrance that was open was the street that leads to Memorial and the main high school lot. At one point, they came in and they petitioned the chief to open Mott because the traffic was just so horrendous. And Mott has been open, and there's been no complaints. It's being closely monitored, and that's working. from someone that, I mean, I'm here since '82, the school was built, it seemed to me that the school had these access points put in, and then because of some incident, they were closed off until we had just one. So I see what the board is, has done. We see the reports that the police officers, the traffic studies that were done to try to alleviate the congestion and the dangerous conditions that exist on Summerhill, and the rest of the streets all backing up trying to get into it. But really, I mean, we don't control what the school board does, but you coming to us is certainly, you have your right to air your grievance if there's a situation on your street that is concerning you. But the place to really go with some of these concerns, ADA, sidewalks, would be the Board of Ed. But I will ask Dawn, I know some of your questions, I don't know if she had gotten answers to regarding the land use, whether that area was zoned or given to the board at some point, was the street vacated? I mean, I think those are some of the questions.
Actually, Bruce was looking into that.
I looked into the vacation, and all of the paper streets in that area were vacated in, I think, '99, I'll tell you in a moment.
That's once they get onto board property?
Yes, the Jackson Street abuts a property line, and in 1998, ordinance
Vacated around
1998-551
Memorial School.
vacated a variety of paper streets, and the tax map shows exempt Borough of Spotswood Board of Education for 1, 2, 3, 4 of those parcels.
So we vacated the street up to their property line.
We vacated the street the streets in the interior.
Interior.
Of their outbound.
But like Jackson Street, it's a public street right up to their property line.
That is what the tax map shows, yes.
And Dawn, you have a report, I think, that came in that detailed some of the activity at the gate. Could you read that?
Yes, it's from our SRO officer, Detective Hoover. He reports there are currently 55 cars using the gate. That was this morning. And it breaks down into about 25 of them between 7:15 and 7:25, and the remaining 30 between 7:25 and 7:38. The gate opens at 7 a.m. by school staff, and it is closed by Detective Hoover at 7:45. It's only used in the morning and by seniors. And his observations are, this has eased the old traffic pattern issues for students and cut down significantly on the number of students arriving late after 7:40 in the morning. Speed traffic enforcement has been conducted on the residential approach streets, as well as on the school property by both patrol and Detective Hoover, to reinforce traffic safety and traffic violations by the students.
I mean, I have to admit, Jackson Street has sidewalks that lead up to that gate.
Yeah, I mean,
And then there's
I
a...
don't mind, you mind if I just show you some pictures?
Sure. And then when you get to the Board of Ed property, there's a whole bunch of briars that just block you from coming in.
Exactly,
And
that's what I wanted to show
I mean,
you. That's the picture.
Right,
of what
and
you
that's
get
just
to.
what I
So
saw.
what do you-
This is it, right? These are the
this
pictures?
isn't- No, that's part of the pictures. I got to,
Yeah.
if you want.
So I mean, I think it would be entirely appropriate for the Board of Ed to clear that.
Well, you would think that, I wrote a letter about 10 years ago to the town, and they came and cleared it. And then that was the last time they were back. All the sidewalks are blocked, if you look. I took pictures. This is in addition to the fact that that area constantly floods, if anybody's got kids that play baseball.
Yeah.
So essentially, the only way to get to the school from that angle, if you're walking, is to walk in the middle of the street. And now, the middle of the street is 17-year-old kids flying through at 25 miles an hour.
Well,
But anyway, it seems like you're backing up the township, which,
well, we have to represent everyone, and
Okay.
and it is, Leo, you live on Vaughan, and you know the backups that happen from that. We get a lot of traffic complaints from all over town, and with the amount of cars that are going in there, 55 cars, if we can alleviate some of that, yes, it's unfortunate for the residents of that street that now that it's open, but if we find out that I mean, really, again, it's between the Board of Ed and the police department. But if that's being a minimal disturbance, I think we have to try to see if it works, at least on their end.
when I was talking to the zoning officer, I said to him, if it wasn't a high school, it was an office building and someone did that, I guarantee you that would have been closed the next day, because It's not a legal entrance. I don't care what anybody says. It's not a legal entrance. It never was a legal entrance. There's no sidewalks. There's no handicap access. All that's required for a school, especially at an entrance like that. So, and you're basically, they made no attempt to even open up the sidewalk on the left-hand side or the one going to the middle school. And if you notice the last picture I gave you here, can you see that last picture? This is what's happening now. You opened up the floodgates up. This is behind Memorial School. Once the gates close, everybody makes their own road and just drives back behind the middle school now.
That's where they go down.
You can go take a look yourself. It's a roadway now. Because when the gates close, they're so used to going that way, they just back up, go behind the middle school, and drive right across the lawn. And it's not just the kids, it's the, yeah, exactly.
Bring that to our attention, and we'll, bring it to the Board of Ed's
I
attention.
mean, they should
That'll
have put a
to be addressed.
fence there. They should clean out those sidewalks at the very least. I mean, come on.
I mean, once you get into Board of Ed property, I think at that rear gate, you have a Y, and I think the cars have to go to one side, and it certainly leaves enough room for someone to walk on the other, but
Well,
getting the brush
if you don't
cleared-
mind walking through a pricker bush first, you
Well,
know?
as I said, there's like 5 or 6 feet
No,
there.
there's no sidewalk.
Right. Okay. We appreciate it, and as I say, I don't know if you've been there already, but you'd have to bring your concerns to the Board of Ed, which really controls all that.
Okay.
Okay?
I mean, this isn't a township issue? I mean, if they're violating zoning ordinance? I mean, there's,
The school board, would you?
the road is, if you,
We have
Well,
a Board of
let me-
Ed former member who was here when the high school was built
okay.
in the audience. So, but I'm not going to put him on the spot.
Yeah,
Well,
if he wants to come up, it's up to
Let
him.
me ask one question. Does anybody here have any knowledge of the fact that the Little League used to own that baseball field there?
Yes.
Okay, so why, I don't even, why would there be a question then? Now, that basically confirms the fact that that wasn't an entrance to the high school.
It was an entrance to a parking lot
The
when the
Little
Little League owned it.
Yeah, so once,
That gate was
you
open.
can't just de facto make it your entrance
But the gate
when
used to
you
get
take
open
over
so that
ownership of the
people could go
property.
park by the Little League field.
So if they're going to use that as an entrance, they need to upgrade it to modern standards.
Well, I think if this is working out, you have to give them a chance to do that.
Okay.
But I do want to ask on the zoning portion, I want to ask our attorney. It's my understanding that, I know on the planning board can review school plans, but we really don't have authority over them. Correct. So they are really, have no control over the zoning of the schools.
Well, I'm not sure who is in charge of ADA requirements? Is that the township or the school, or both?
On school property, it's the
On
schools.
school property. Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else tonight? Any other issues?
Detroit.
Hello, Cheryl.
Yeah. Cheryl Bass, 289 Main Street. With Resolution 2016-52, Red Bank Road is part of that project, the sewage pump station. Is this what the people from Red Bank Road had come to speak about quite some time ago?
No. No, this is a lift station that keeps the sewage moving down the pipe. The problem is getting their street sewage to the station. So that's not part of it. This is improving the pump station itself.
So this will be part of improving the problem that is
No.
there currently?
No, this is just town-wide, getting our pumping stations up to snuff.
Is she talking about the,
The ADA grant, well, she
the-
was talking about the resolution.
The resolution, because Red Bank Road is
Right,
included in there.
that's on 52, Resolution 52?
Yeah.
Right, that does not include improving the Cottage Street's sewage problem. That is what the ordinance that we passed, that you had
Okay.
asked about, that addresses those issues, but this addresses the pump stations themselves.
Okay, so,
88 grant will fix the sewage, the drainage, and sidewalks and all that.
yeah, because that's what they had spoken about quite some
Correct.
time ago.
And that was about,
So he just.
I want to say around 2.4 million when we were looking at it.
Right.
So that's why we couldn't do it right away.
Right, it wasn't just one street, it was
It's
the
Red
area.
Bank
The area.
and
Yeah,
Very
woodland.
flat.
all of them, yeah, Woodland.
Very flat, no drainage, problems with water and sewer.
Right, right, okay. And with the lovely proclamation, Appleby, the fourth grade class, will they be able to advertise or put up in their classroom the proclamation? Will it be advertised through the school system, through the town?
Yeah, I mean, I plan on sending one to Mrs. Boyle. Obviously, I think that's where we all read, correct?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Because I would think, we're a small audience, and we heard the proclamation. The whole town should be proud and happy and participating. So the more publicity they have, and maybe the newspaper can even mention it. So, a little...
putting you on a spot there.
A little media attention. And at the library, they now have that you can get books circulated with the East Brunswick Library. So this, I think, is a big improvement, and I think this
Very
helps
big.
the budget, because you don't have to have books at the Spotswood Library and the East Brunswick Library, that this would help us. I many times go to the East Brunswick Library, and they have, just last week, this week, they have 4 young girls registering voters. So I went up to them, and maybe I'm a authoritarian figure, but they became quite scared, and only one girl spoke with me. And I said to them, you don't look like the women from the League of Women Voters, who are usually much more mature people. And they said they're teenagers, they go to the East Brunswick High School, and that they're earning extra credits for like public service. So I said, what did you learn in school that qualifies you to hand out a voter registration form? And they really haven't been taught anything special. Somebody wants a voter registration form, you hand it to them. So I said to them, on the voter registration form, it asks, are you a citizen? How do you know that these people are a citizen? So they said, oh, it's all checked at the Board of Elections. And I said that also on the form, it asks, do you want to register with a party? I said, are you asking them about registration with a party? No, we're I said, what do the people ask you? What do the people talk about? So they got reticent on that one. So my comment is that the teenagers who themselves are not really able to vote, they should be taught in school about the privilege of voting here in America, and before they just hand out papers to anybody who says, oh, I'll register to vote, they should engage in a conversation that shows how intelligent they are and what they learned, and that they know about voting and registering to vote. So that is my comment on that. And finally, you were mentioning about the police budget. I am very much in favor of always providing our police with the best equipment, the newest and the most modern. And I am very upset to hear about all the police shootings that, and the media does not give respect and attention to the police. And the White House has said that they're not going to give old military equipment to the police to help to protect the police, and the police have a lot of antiquated material. So I am very much in favor of the police getting updated equipment, and I would respectfully suggest to the mayor, to the town council, that every time you come across people who are, with, oh, we'll cut this from the budget, that from the budget, the taxpayer the average taxpayer is saying from the White House that they don't want to give the old military equipment. Definitely look
Okay.
to see where you can get some old military equipment that the police department can use, fix up, upgrade, and be the most modern, up-to-date, and fully equipped police department. And the media should give more respect.
Okay,
and-
Cheryl.
Hey, Cheryl, on that note, just to let you know, Chief Zarro
You've got to be consistent.
does do surplus, old military surplus, to see what's available.
Exactly, that's what we
They're
need.
very-
Saves us money.
They're very proactive. We got a license plate reader in this year's budget, where as you're driving the car, the reader will pick up if your license is suspended, if your registration is suspended. It'll pay itself off, but we want to make sure that our officers do have the best equipment. As I don't know, most of you heard, the officer in neighboring town, Sayreville,
Yeah.
was shot dead. It gets closer and closer to home, so.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Cheryl. Anything else tonight? Oh, Frank.
Comes Frank.
Good evening, Frank.
Good evening. Frank Cardation, 41 Kane Avenue. I'll something about the parking and driving there first, but the last speaker, I'm a veteran, all right, I go to the VA and I read some documents there, and I was recently there, and what really bothers me is our servicemen overseas are not getting first-class equipment. That's a tragic. I mean, they're giving their lives in their service, and we can't give them the competitive ammunition to fight the opposition. That's terrible, okay? So I have nothing against the police. They should have reasonable equipment also, but veterans are a little different. They're volunteers out there sacrificing a big sacrifice. Getting back to Jackson and Watt, I was not involved in the design or planning of high school, but I was on a board when we first opened that. And I remember discussing those plans that Mott Ave and Jackson were both designed and meant to be exits and entrances. That was part of the plan. What I don't understand, he said it's illegal. I don't know what makes it illegal. If that's on the plan and the municipality accepted it, that's legal. Now, I'm not checking sizes, but it just said illegal. I don't think the board would have done anything illegal at that time. It was on the plans, it was approved, and they had it. And we did have a few of the problems there, but it had nothing to do with traffic, it had to do with lights. People were not happy having the Little League lights at night there, so they complained about that, and we worked on it, and I think we took care of that. All right. But it was planned to be used as an entrance and exit. So that was the plans, for whatever the reasons.
Thank you for stepping up, Frank.
Thank
I
you.
wasn't going to identify you.
That's all right. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
12.
Anyone else before we close public portion?
Motion to close the public portion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Need a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you all for coming out tonight.